Hi, I'm Big River's Program Director, Mike Flynn, and I'm going to be giving you an explanation of our Start 5K and 10K training plan spreadsheet. So when you open up the document, you're going to have multiple tabs across the bottom. You have a 5K training tab, a 10K training tab, and then there's tabs to extend the plan out to the Go St. Louis Halloween race later in October. Um, those are on separate tabs because our primary goal race is the Mo Cowbell race, which is on Sunday, October 5th, both for the 10K and for the 5K. And that's the point at the season in which our group workouts and our coach support are going to end. So we do share an extension of the training plan for the next 2 weeks that would take you to the Go race. Um, but we are not going to have any group workouts during that time. So that's why we put them onto a separate page. We'll use the 5K plan as an example here. And so up top, you'll see a couple highlights. So on Saturdays, our runs begin at 8 o'clock a.m. And on Wednesday evenings, our group runs begin at 6 o'clock p.m. There is also the opportunity on Mondays all year round to go to either Big River Running University City or Big River Running South City at 5:45 p.m. and do the typical Monday night group run. Some of our start coaches do attend the U City run pretty consistently on Mondays, so you would see some familiar faces there. Calendar dates are on the plan for each day of the week, and do note that the week is shown Monday through Sunday, whereas some calendars show the week Sunday through Saturday. And then if we have an in-person workout, there's going to be a color-coded block stating where it is. So, for example, on Monday the 21st, we have participant orientation at the University City store. And our first group run is on Saturday, the 26th at Forest Park near the Visitor Center. When we send out the weekly newsletter each week, we'll include a lot of additional information, such as addresses, parking maps, pictures of our meeting areas, so that it's easy to find where we're going to be at our different locations. And we do mix things up. So on Saturdays, you'll notice Forest Park, Tower Grove, Frontier Park, and the Katy Trail. So you'll get to preview a part of the Mo Cowbell Racecourse, Grants Trail, and then we start cycling through some of those locations again. On Wednesdays, we periodically have some educational or fun clinics. So on August 6th, we will do a running form clinic. Later in the season, Coach Jill will be doing a bedazzling clinic so you can decorate some of your running gear and improve that positive mental attitude, which is going to help you be successful and enjoy your runs. Um, and so that's how you can sort of see a general framework for where we're going to be each week. Then for the different days, there is going to be a workout description. So, for example, on our first Saturday, the total duration of the workout is 35 minutes, and then you have three different options. So, and that 35 minutes includes our 5 minute warm up and 5 minute cool down, which are walks. So then there's 25 minutes of run walk intervals in the middle of the workout. And so you have choices. We'll have group one, which will do run for 2 minutes, walk for a minute, and then repeat that until they get to 25 minutes. Group two will run for 2 minutes, but then have a longer 2 minute recovery walk for 25 minutes. And group three will run for 1 minute and walk for 2 minutes for those 25 minutes. And you'll see as we go throughout the season, those intervals progress and get progressively longer. And the goal with that is that you're becoming stronger, and you're building up your endurance and your stamina throughout the season. You can switch groups from week to week. You're not committed from day one to a specific group. So if you start in group two the first week and you say, you know what, that actually felt pretty easy. I feel like I could do more. You can move up to group one for the next week. Or if you start in group two and you're like, whew, that was a lot harder than I expected, you can hop into group three the next week. And you can flux around throughout the season as needed or desired. The, so Wednesdays we'll have some of our coaches present, and Saturdays we'll have almost all of our coaches present every week. So on those Saturdays, Group one, group two, group three, they're each going to have multiple coaches and they'll be doing that same set of intervals, but they might string out over the course of the workout. And so you might have faster group one, slower group one, faster group two, medium group two, slower group two, faster group three, slower group three, or some combination like that by the time that our workout ends. So our coaches will kind of run at your pace and meet participants where they're at throughout the training season. So Saturdays, lots of coaches, lots of support and encouragement. Wednesdays, we'll have a decent number of coaches there, but it won't be as many. And so our workouts generally on Wednesdays are simplified insofar as the same, more often than not, each group's going to be doing the same thing. So that first in-person Wednesday where we meet together during week two, we'll do a warm up and then we'll do a series of 15-second accelerations, which we call pickups. So you'll run faster for 15 seconds, walk for 2 minutes, repeat that 8 times, and then we'll cool down. So we'll do our 5-minute walking warm up kind of as a big group. Then we'll string out a little bit during those 15-second pickups, but during that 2-minute walk, we'll kind of accordion back together. And so we can support that workout with a smaller number of coaches. Those pickups will get longer over the next few weeks. Um, and then towards the end of the season, you'll see some different types of runs in there as well. The Monday workouts and the Thursday workouts, those are on your own. So you can do those at home or near a park, in a gym, on a treadmill, whatever works for you. And since we won't have coaches present, we do have an ability, though, to give you basically a guided workout for your smartwatch that will guide you through that. So if you scroll to the bottom of the plan, there's a blue box, and the whole box is a hyperlink. And if you click on that, it will take you to an online portal with a platform called V.02 Coaching, and it's free for you to sign up. And then you just build an account and then email me, mike.flynn@bigriverrunning.com, and let me know if you want the group one, the group two, or the group three workouts. And then I can share those with you, and your watch will guide you through them. So if you do that on week two, Monday, the 28th, you would hit start on your watch. It would tell you to walk for 5 minutes. At the end of that 5 minutes, it would kind of count down and then it would tell you to run. If you're in group one, it would tell you to run for 3 minutes and then it would tell you to walk for 2 minutes and then it would repeat that a few times and then it would eventually tell you to cool down for 5 minutes and then beep at you that you're done. So that's an option. It's a tool. A lot of people do find that successful. So if you have a Garmin watch, a Coros watch, or an Apple Watch, those are all compatible with this and you can get those workouts synced over so that your watch is kind of guiding you through and helping coach you through the workout. But that is not essential. That is not necessary. You can use no watch. You can use an old Timex. You can use your phone to, track the duration of your intervals, however you want to do it. So that's kind of the specifics in terms of the layout of the training plan. The 10K plan looks very similar. You will notice that the days of the week that we run on are a little different from 5K to 10K. So 5K, we've got Monday, Tuesday's a rest day, Wednesday and Thursday are runs. Friday's a rest day, Saturday's a run, Sunday's a rest day. For 10K, Tuesday's also a rest day, but instead of running on Thursdays, we run on Fridays. The main reason we do that is to actually help you build up your endurance a little bit so that when you're doing your longer run on Saturday, your legs are slightly tired from having run the day before so that you can get a little bit more of a training stimulus out of your Saturday run. But this is not a like essential make it or break it component of the training plan. So we encourage you to come on Wednesdays and to come on Saturdays because that's when the big group will be there and the coaches will be there. But you can do these workouts whatever day of the week works for you. So if it makes sense to take Monday off and do the Monday workout on Tuesday and then do the group workout on Wednesday, and then take Thursday off, and then do Friday and Saturday, great. Or whatever combination works. Um, and if you have questions about how to modify that, just let one of our coaches know, and we can help you figure out how to structure it around your week and what days of the week work for you. And if you are using the online V.02 coaching, once I share this training plan with you, you can actually drag and drop and move the workouts around on your training calendar as well to make them sync up with your personal schedule if necessary. Um, so down at the bottom of the plan, we also do have a description of some of the exertion levels in the workout. Um, so you can look at that if you want to, but our coaches are going to explain that to you in the weekly email every week. We're going to have a workout description. And so for 10K, it'll talk about what cruise intervals are and what threshold pace is and what that should feel like. And for 5K, it'll talk about what pickups are and what those should feel like. So this is here for your reference, but we'll share more info throughout the season. Again, primary goal race is Mo Cowbell, and some of our coaches will be running that race to help coach you and guide you through that race and run with groups of start participants. Then we do have the 2 week plan extensions to bridge you over to the Go Halloween race. Um, and so if you're doing this as your primary race and you're not doing cowbell, that's perfectly fine. You would just follow the training plan as written and then continue on here. If you want to do both races, that's great as well. If you want to do cowbell and be done for the season, that's great. And if you're doing a different 5K or 10K race as well, that's also fantastic. You can move things around in terms of shifting the weeks as necessary. Just know that if you come and run with the group on Saturdays, we're going to be doing what's on the training plan that day. The other thing that we have here, which is more of a tool for your reference, is we have these pace charts. And we've we share these with our 10K participants because these are helpful for figuring out what your cruise interval pace is or your threshold pace. Um, they can be useful for our 5K participants as well. It just really comes down to what are your goals for the START program. If your goal is to complete the race and run a 5K for the first time or run a 10K for the first time, I would encourage you to ignore these as much as possible, and just have fun and be patient with the training process and kind of let it go the way it goes and come to you and become fitter as you go through the season. But maybe you're a repeat start participant. You did start 5K with us in the spring. You're back, you're doing 5K again in the fall, and you want to run a little bit faster and want to know what might be reasonable or take your training a little bit deeper or to another level this season, then these could be a tool for you. Um, so what this pace chart does is it shows you a couple different things. On the left side in the race time equivalence section, it tells you kind of based on, physiological data and a bunch of research studies and some computer algorithms, how different paces would equate with each other. Um, so for example, we could look here at this 60-minute 10K. And that's roughly equivalent to a 28:52 5K or an 8:37 mile. And so this isn't perfect. And just because the spreadsheet says it doesn't mean that it's going to be true for you. But what this means is that for a lot of people, if you can race a mile in 8 minutes and 37 seconds, then physiologically, if you train appropriately and have good weather on race day and all of that good stuff, 28:52 is a pretty accurate predictor for your potential in a 5K, and 60 minutes is a pretty accurate predictor for your potential in a 10K. So, again, this is a tool. It's not perfect, but it does work for a lot of people. So maybe um, you ran and did start 5K with us this spring, and at the Ferguson Twilight Run, you ran 43 minutes as your 5K time. So you would look here and you'd see that that 5K 43 minutes is between this 42:51 and this 43:19. And that puts you between an hour and 30 and an hour and 31 minutes for a 10K. So you could say, that's a reasonable goal time for me to try to run my 10K in. And you'll notice the 10K times are greater than twice the 5K time because the distance is longer. So you are going to decelerate or you're going to have to pace yourself slower in order to make it through the event. Um, so that's a good reference for it. If you're one of our 10K participants this season and you're doing the workouts, when it comes time to do our cruise intervals, we are going to encourage you to look over here and see the pace in this threshold column as a reference for what pace per mile to run those cruise intervals at. And so, again, maybe you ran that 43-minute 5K with us at Ferguson. You would come over here and say, okay, my cruise interval pace is somewhere between 12:39 and 12:44. So again, this isn't an exact number, but we would say, okay, maybe between 12:30 per mile and 12:50 per mile is what I should be trying to do for those cruise intervals. Um, and so that's how you can use that. The other way you could use it would be to say, all right, I ran this pace in the spring. I ran a 43-minute 5K at Ferguson, but I actually ran an 11:50 mile at Macklin Mile or at Summer Speedwork on the time trial. And if you're in a position like that where your mile time is significantly faster than your 5K time, what that means is that most likely we can make you faster in the 5K. You just need to do more training and get more experience, building up your stamina, building up your endurance. And so you have potential for improvement there. So then you could say, any of these 5K times kind of between my mile time and what I've previously run the 5K, these are things I could potentially aspire to this 5K season or in a future 5K season and try to get there. And you could use that to do some goal setting. The other way to use the pace charts on the training plan is to come over here and look at this run walk Jeff Galloway pace chart. And this is actually a pretty good um, tool for our newer 5K or first time 5K participants. And again, I'd say just start training, go on a journey, have fun with the experience, be open-minded about where it's going to lead, have some goals, such as I want to finish the race. Um, but you don't need to set time goals at the beginning of the season or potentially ever. Like you could show up at race day and be like, my goal is to run as much of this as possible and to finish the race and be proud of myself. Or you might decide that you do have a time goal and you want to set that and you want some help figuring out what a reasonable goal would be. So you'll see in our 5K season that in week 6, we do like a 1 mile no stops run. And then we do some progressive runs later in the season that take that no stops continuous running longer. So if you wanted to know what a reasonable goal is, you could run that mile, and maybe it takes you 9.5 minutes to run that mile. And then you could look at this and say that 9:30 mile predicts out to a 31:13 5K. That's a good goal for my 5K. And you could do that with whatever your pace would be. The other thing that's over here is there's this run walk strategy column. And what this is Jeff Galloway, who's an authority on the run walk method. These are recommended intervals that he suggests for using like on race day or in your training. And so maybe you decide that you want to run a 42-minute 5K, which is, you know, consistent with running a 13-minute mile. So you'd say 42 minutes is my goal for the 5K. That's 13:33 per mile pace during the race. So I'm going to come over here, and that falls into this pace per mile of 12:15 to 14:30. And these are run walk intervals that Galloway would suggest if you want to use run walk on race day. So run for 30 seconds, walk for 30, run for 20, walk for 20, run for 15, or walk for 15. And so that would be his recommendation. And we could have a whole nother conversation about this, but it's entirely possible that you could run walk your 5K faster than you could purely run your 5K because you're getting recovery during those short little walk breaks, which then allow you to run faster when you are running. That's a different conversation for another time. But so that's where these recommendations are kind of helpful. You'll notice these intervals are nowhere close to what we're doing on the training plan. And the reason for that is on the training plan, we're trying to build up your endurance and your stamina throughout the season so that you can run for progressively longer periods of time. So at the beginning of the season, we start out with shorter runs and longer walks, such as group three starts with run a minute, walk 2 minutes. And then as it builds up, those intervals change. And group three is ending the season kind of down here at running for 6 minutes continuously, or running a mile, taking a walk break, another mile, walk break, another mile, or running 10 minutes continuously. So we're going to build you up, develop your endurance stamina, and get you there. Um, we use longer run intervals and correspondingly longer recovery intervals in the training plan because we're trying to build up that endurance piece. And so when you do a longer continuous run, you do need more recovery. So we build that in with those longer walk breaks. But if you were using this to try to be like as fast as possible or as efficient as possible, the goal would actually be shorter runs with shorter walk breaks. Um, and you're not like fatiguing yourself or stressing yourself as much on those runs as you could be by a longer run. But we use the longer runs during training to help build up your endurance and your stamina so that you can run for longer periods of time and get fitter. So that's why you see those differences there. So these are tools. They're here for your reference. Our coaches are happy to talk to you more about them. Um, you can kind of employ them and use them as you see fit. But we are here to support you on your training journey, however you're looking for. And we thank you for training with us, and we hope you have a great time with Start this season.